gentlemen, welcome to the I Am David Barry podcast, 10 Phases of Dating. We are in week number 4. This is podcast number 4. And with me, as always, I have Mr.
David Barry, here live from Miami once more.
I'm Kevin Green, I'm the host, but there's a special in-studio guest we have, David.
Yes, he is illustrious in many circles of the world, if you shall. He has a custom-made bobblehead doll of his own rendition.
He does.
He is known as T-Rex by those dear to him, but he is known as Tom Ricky.
Mr. Thomas Ricky, can I get an applause here, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, for Tom. Here we are. How you doing, Tom? Welcome.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's so great to be here in the New York studio. It's about 18 degrees outside, I'll tell you, here in Rochester, New York.
It's good.
It's definitely cold, but it is warm here in this studio.
It's a prevailing south-southwest wind, about 10 to 15 miles an hour.
Very true.
Yeah.
Moving that...
I Am David Barry podcast really likes to create a nice studio experience for those participating in the podcast, so I made sure that you had the absolute brightest conditions for the indoor experience.
It's good. He got his fruit basket, Dave, so that's good. He's just waiting for his sidekick. His little, you remember those things?
Yeah, oh yeah.
The celebrities, they were always in the gift baskets.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sure.
We're going to start off this podcast. We have a lot of things to cover in the world of dating, but we need to start off on a somber note. And I'm not sure exactly how this happened because Dave, you and I know Tom as well, we are some of the most loud and obnoxious people.
Not really ever offended either.
Not easily offended, but I don't know where we became the legal guardians for what is socially acceptable and what is socially unacceptable.
Yeah, it's quite a transition really from our youth when we're defining what wasn't acceptable.
Yeah, we kind of drew the line as to what was not acceptable.
Absolutely.
And I really, I wasn't sure what the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life was until I went to our good friend, Dan and David Cordova's father's funeral a couple weeks ago. And something happened with the music conductor. You see, we went through the entire service. There's a slideshow. Yeah. There's the speakers. Dan, Jess, Dave. They all talked about his father. And then
a prisoner of war with him, spoke very highly of him and the brothership that they grew over time. It was really beautiful.
A dozen letters that were sent from his old army buddies.
Absolutely
beautiful service.
Truly, yeah.
And so after the speeches happen, then the pastor gets up and he talks. That's fine. Talks for a little while. And then at the end of this service, after we've been sitting for about an hour and a half, something happens. David, would you like to take it from there?
Yeah, it's one of the more bizarre things that I've seen. And as you said, the service itself was really nice. Tom alluded to them paying a really nice tribute to their father, who had been a prisoner of war in Chile. But then, moved on and raised 2 wonderful boys, a family and everything, and everybody had paid tribute to him in that way throughout the service. Well, then the choir guy gets up, the leader of song, if you will, to deliver the final hymn, which should have been the icing on the cake. Everybody goes up, has some nice food, and calls it a day.
Memories and everything, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that didn't happen. He starts off by saying, this might sound a little crazy and it might be a little out of line. Red flag right there, really, when that's the first thing coming out of your mouth.
Albeit, at this point, let's just say this. Think of the top 10 worst things you could possibly say at such a somber, sad, just really reflective
off the top
time.
What do you think? What do you think are some of those things? Comment about maybe say the guy was a horrible person.
Yeah, it could
maybe
be.
say that.
You could say things like that.
He didn't leave any money for his kids.
Yeah,
talk about money. Talk about inheritance.
All the
things.
classics.
Should have seen how terrible he looked when he died, or something like that.
Yeah, those are all faux pas.
Yeah,
but this is number one.
I think it really truly does take the cake, and the reason that I think it does is because it sets up, as Dave was just alluding to, it almost set up as, I know I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say this anyways. And I don't really even know if this has any connection to any of you in any way, but I'm going to try to make a connection here, and it's going to be a real stretch. So hold on tight. Here we go.
And David, why don't you take it from there?
And Dave, take it from there, right?
Sure. Well, I'm going to give you the abridged version as best I can to repeat what he said. So he goes, people deal with death differently all across the world, really. And then he made an allusion to his experience as a missionary in Papua New Guinea, and said, we had this one guy. He had been dead for about 2 weeks, really.
Actually, honey, it was a week and a half.
References his wife.
He said
References
2 weeks, right?
his wife in the congregation to verify the length at which a body was dead in a home in New Guinea.
So he reached
Rotting,
to his wife.
mind you.
So he goes, sweetie, how long? 2 weeks? No? Oh, well, it was a week and a half.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the body smelled terrible.
Oh, that one smelled so bad. Woo!
That one smelled awful. I mean, this guy had been dead a week and a half. Really.
Oh.
I mean, you should have smelled the thing.
Hey,
And
keep in
everybody
mind,
is looking
yeah.
on in horror. Complete
Utter shock.
And honestly,
Shock.
Can I be honest? That was one of the most homosexual moments of my life. I literally grabbed Josh's hand. Friend Josh, who's sitting next to me. We grabbed and held hands for the entire time in terror.
in a vice grip, because it's like watching a car accident.
You just can't turn away, but you don't know what to do. You're helpless. I was helpless.
It was absolutely terrible, and I mean,
The saddest part, Dave, is I literally look up and I see my friend David and my friend Dan look into each other's eyes, almost in shock, as to say, "What do we do? I don't know how to respond to this." I mean, and just absolute, utter mass hysteria.
I'll compare it to something else. It's like driving at 15 miles an hour through a school zone, and a pickup truck comes through and just hits every car going at 80.
A tidal wave.
Yeah.
In essence, a tidal wave.
Yeah.
Just
Actually
derailing
kills
everything
the children
good.
on his way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst part, and not the worst part, but another part about this that was completely forgotten is the fact that Nelson Cordova, when he passed away, it took a couple days before they found him at home.
And how awful to remember that again at the remembrance ceremony of a guy's life.
After a beautiful service for a fantastic guy.
It was just brutal.
It
Awful.
was-
Awful. Again, one of the top 10, I would say probably the number one. I mean, it should almost be like a David Letterman. And the top 10 things. Number one, how long was that guy dead? Honey, 2 weeks? No, week and a half? You got it. Yep, that was it right there. I mean, we saw history in the making. Really.
And I have to say, we talk about this now because we laughed about it with Dave and Dan afterwards,
and we did get their consent to have this conversation.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where they're fine. It was a great service, and the food afterwards is fantastic, having the remembrances. But that will stick with me for quite some time. I think all of us, and I thought that we should share that.
It's too big to just gloss over and not bring up.
Yeah.
Our friends need to know.
All right.
Great.
So that's been covered now. So how do we awkwardly transition to the topics of dating?
Well,
Should we go
you just did it,
necrophilia?
so
Should we go
let's get right in there.
necrophilia and then kind of come back around there from there, or is that not it? Is that not the way we should go?
Dating at funerals, or
Yeah, something like that. Picking up women at funeral. Okay, now we're working our way back.
yeah, could be
Okay.
possibly. Yeah.
How about how about this? At the same night when we were having the conversation about this with Dan and Dave and Dan's wife Jessica, we also talked about the difference between exclusive dating. When you become boyfriend and girlfriend? What is the difference between being I'm in a relationship versus we are exclusive? And we had a little debate about this, so maybe we could pick up there.
Sure, yeah. No, I totally, we had a couple of different things to say about that. And if I remember correctly, Dave, you kind of started this whole thing off, did you not, when we had this conversation?
Because our friend Dave had been in that, we were asking him that very question, because he was talking about some experiences he had with this girl he was dating, about, what are the proper boundaries when it comes to, having guy friends. The girl that he's dating, what's that limit? I asked, are you in a relationship with the girl? And he said, yeah. And I was like, well, how did it happen? Why is she not respecting the boundaries? And then he's like, well, the thing is, and I was like, well, what? They had really never made it official. Turns out they're what I would call exclusive, which pretty much means they've acknowledged, maybe in words or not, that I'm seeing you, you're seeing me. Technically, we're not supposed to see anybody else, but it's not really etched in stone yet. We're headed in that direction, but
what is the difference, though? What is the specific difference between those two? Because to me, you're not seeing anybody else, then you're in a relationship. Or if you're not calling each other all the time?
Well, I think honestly that really goes into the fact of, are we having a sexual relationship with that person or not? And I think that's really where the discussion needs to go.
Okay.
Has it become sexual at this point? Are we dating? Are we going out to dinners? Is it very lighthearted? Are we beginning to have sexual relations? Do we want to take that to the next level from a time perspective? Are we, having sexual relations with anybody else and time? Are we marrying both of those together?
You're saying that exclusive would lend itself to more of a hooking up type of thing, where like we're going to go out, get drinks, and then we'll hook up.
Well, I think it's all
versus
subject.
a relationship is, we're going to go watch beaches, we're going to hold hands, we're going to drink mimosas in the morning, and we'll have sex between that.
Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of people don't need exclusive or relationship for sex. I mean, for a lot of people, that's kind of the precursor to the first date.
Very true.
It's kind of just a standard negotiating tactic, really, if you want to put it that way. I think it's really, it involves a conversation, because to bring it up, you both may obviously be of the mindset that there's something going on, but if neither of you takes the step to kind of put yourself out there,
is
and
it
say,
really
look,
wanted by either of you at that point? Is that the question? If we're not bringing it up, we may be having some sort of sexual relationship, we're dating, we're talking, whatever you want to call it, but we haven't really had that discussion about exclusivity. I mean, really, do we need to even have it? If you don't want to have it, do we?
How do you have that conversation? Like, what do you do?
Well, I feel like there's a whole bunch of different coping mechanisms that come into play from the female perspective.
Sure.
You might hear.
Do you think that's a female? Do you think that's a female-induced conversation?
I think in most cases it usually is. I don't know if we're just not sensitive in this situation.
Dave, have you ever brought up that topic with a girl first, or has it always been the girl that initiates it?
I have. I mean, I think you kind of know when the tenor of the conversation is going there, because when it comes to that whole exclusive phase, and typically it is the girl more often than not who wants to know, all right, like,
what are we?
Is it only me? Is it really only me? Because a lot of guys, as interested in a girl as they may be, will use that as leeway to say, well, we're not committed technically, so whatever I do is still my business.
Right.
A lot of girls would kind of want to, take that step and say, all right, look, I'm out here, I'm spreading them for you, and we're trying to have something serious here.
Well, he makes a very good point.
That was eloquently put.
And I think that women at this point really do have that right. I mean, if I'm doing that and allowing that, then sure. I mean, you should have the right to have that conversation and get that exclusive relationship on
official by doing it the good old-fashioned way, which is show up at her house, grab her by her ponytail, and drag her through the streets like a caveman. That's one way to show that you're, she's your property.
Yeah, and they come back dead or alive. It really doesn't
make a difference. And
say,
that goes back to the necrophilia.
I want you to be mine officially. I want to, people ask you what we are. I want people to know that you're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And,
promise me you've never said, I want you to be mine. Promise me you've never said that exact
Well, and
sentence.
if you did, I would only be okay with that if you had like a Journey soundtrack playing in the background. I think that would make everything
Don't
okay.
stop believing.
Love me, touch me,
Please
hold me,
be
squeeze
mine.
me. Yeah.
Hold on to that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think some girls, depending on what the guy's, method of operation is, they might appreciate that kind of direct gesture because it fits his persona. And as it goes with all cases, a girl's going to know if it's sincere to your personality or not. But if you've got to...
In some cases.
Sure. I mean, but one way or the other, you've got to communicate in concise terms, however it is you choose to do it, that... Look, there's nobody else. At this point, if you're sleeping with someone else, that's called cheating. There are repercussions for your actions at this point. Whereas I think when you're exclusive, the repercussion is that the relationship might not work, but you can't really be called out for cheating or anything like that because, well, what are the boundaries? They haven't been established.
Yeah.
A relationship, I think, in dating officially is the only part of the dating
But again,
experience.
that brings it back to the main question, what exactly is exclusive versus a relationship?
Yeah.
I think we've talked a lot about dating at this point. I don't know if we've necessarily gone into and or covered that really exclusive versus relationship. Because if you are exclusive at this point, doesn't that mean we're kind of in a relationship?
Okay, how about that? I think you need to define it by this. What do you consider cheating when you're exclusive? Do you consider cheating when you're exclusive with a girl?
Well,
That's
I
the
think that
answer.
they would certainly consider that from a sexual means. At least, if I'm having some sort of sexual relation